So, without further ado, I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce This is another in a series of live broadcasts enjoying the creative sounds of music and harmony. Hope you enjoy. So don't touch that dial. Keep it locked. Be tuned in and turned on.
Welcome to the Talk Dirty to Me podcast with the Maestro. Not just numbers, not just stats. It's about what they mean. And now, your host, the Maestro.
Hello, and welcome to this episode of Talk Dirty to Me with your boy, me, the Maestro. How's everybody feeling today? Hopefully you're all well. Let's just get right into it. Had a chance to check out a open run this weekend here in Boston, Mass. Went to school up there for a while. Needed a translator because me being from the great island nation of Mississippi, I had no idea what everybody was saying until I think I'd been up there almost a year. They were making fun of my accent, and I didn't know if they were saying car, yard, or yar, or nar, or whatever. Anyway, we won't get into that. Let's just have some fun, right? What's really interesting about watching the new talent that's coming into the league is seeing where these players are in relationship to where the players from the previous season, including this season here, where they are now, and just kind of being in your mind, okay, this is what I saw from this guy, this is what I saw from that guy, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm just want to take this conversation a little bit deeper and talk about the things you see between players in terms of how it might translate to not just this next level here, but also the level they might want to go to and things they might want to work on. A lot of great things caught my eye. Learn a lot about a team concept when it's not truly a team. You see who knows how to play within that team concept. You get a chance to very early see who understands court placement, because that's what it all becomes about. Some people say giving space means once I pass you the ball, I move to a deep part of the court and I stand there and I wait. And that's not how basketball works. Everybody has an idea. Sometimes, though, it's hard to implement. Ball is about constant motion, right? I move with the purpose. If I give it to you at the top of the key, I might flash mid-post, off to the wing, on the turn, or whatever. I might do that to give you an opportunity to A, feed me and move, or give you an opportunity to at least have space to make your move on your man. As you see players start to develop throughout the game and as they get more comfortable learning each other's games, it was kind of good to see that happen. But let's just get right into a couple of players who really, really caught my attention in terms of parts of their games that I really, really liked. And we'll start one with Stubblefield. Stubblefield has a really nice passing game. He was able to pass his teammates open. He was able to pass through the defensive lanes in the exact way that you would want your point guard to bring it up. I can easily see him, once he gets settled into a system, being close to, if not more than, a double-digit assist guy, depending on how his teammates are able to finish, because, quite frankly, his passing was just that impressive. What's nice about someone who can pass like that, you think of guys like a Jason Kidd or Magic Johnson or John Stockton. And I'm not saying that that's what he's going to be, so don't start that, please. We're all almost adults here, okay? Don't do that. But what I'm saying is, in terms of his game and his awareness, how he was able to work with cats who he probably doesn't work with a lot, but he still knew their game enough to know how far to lead them. That's very important. It's a very small window at this level. It gets even smaller as you move up. The fact that he had that recognition already was really, really nice to see. Once he gets more consistent with his shot, he's going to be just that much more dangerous, because he also has the IQ to know, I have to pass it this play. No, I need to make the shot this play. And to watch him do that as sort of the run moved forward was really nice to see, sort of how he evolved within the game itself. So Stubblefield, definitely a pair of hands to look out for moving forward. Really nice to see how, as he gets more comfortable, what that's going to translate to, as well as the cats who play with him or watch him play, who can see what he can do, can take advantage of that as well. Another player that I really liked was Haywood. Haywood had, I thought, a really good, solid low post games, great hands. He blocked a few shots that he probably should not have been able to block. I'm going to give it to the fact that he understood his leverage that was given to him when the offensive players were making a move to the rim. He was where he needed to be and used his height to his advantage, was able to knock a couple of balls off the backboard, if not completely out of play. Once he learns his spacing abilities and his game, it would be nice to see him develop a mid-range shot, something that would sort of get him away from the post a little bit. Inside the post, his hands, once they get a lot better, he gets his footwork together. He's going to be a handful to handle because he just has that. He has the size, everything that you're looking for in a low post player or someone who can be in the low post for you. I just say it that way because I understand we're moving to more of a positionless basketball era, and let's just keep it in that manner. So not to step out of bounds, right? Remington has incredible instincts. Like every time the ball was someplace, Remington was there, whether he was on defense or not. And that was really cool to see because that is what you want in a player that shows you their ability to be a dirty dirter, to be a hustler. Dirty dirters are always around the ball, one way or the other. They're getting a steal, they're getting a block, they're getting a rebound, they're taking advantage of a place and position in order to get points for their team. All those things, that's what you want to see, and Remington definitely has that. He got more comfortable as the run moved on, but his comfortability level turned into him just being glued to the ball, kind of like the Mandalorian with Grogu, Din Grogu now, in the carrier, right? You don't really see that with younger players. Ball awareness is not necessarily high on the list of things I want to do because I want to score. The fact that he was able to do that was really awesome. Can't wait to see him develop that. And lastly, on one player that showed the greatest upside with what I saw this weekend, and that was Chambliss. Chambliss has incredible hands. He was knocking balls away from players off the dribble, whether they were at the top of the key or in the post. He was always around the rebound. He was also someone that I really liked to see him when he had an opportunity to move and drive. He did so. He has a good first step when he trusts himself to do it. He is another player that was also playing Williams, the same thing. Really good first steps, and I guess you would expect that with their speed. Be good to see him see both of them actually turn that into a real advantage. Chambliss, if there was one factor, and this is probably going to go with a lot of players, but with him, his hands were so good. The fact that his footwork is still a tool in progress was really obvious, only because his hands were so good. Not his fault. It's not a bad thing. It's just that his hands are just that good that you really notice that a lot of times he was out of position just because either an uncertainty of where he needed to be or just not understanding the leverage of where a player had to be according to where the ball was, whether he was on defense or offense. And we'll talk about leverage at some point here soon for everybody, but those are some of the things that I saw this weekend from the players I thought was really awesome. Can't wait to see them develop. And we'll talk a little bit more about where leverage and things come from, as well as a little bit of story time with the maestro coming up here on Talk Dirty Tommy.
Thank you for listening to the Talk Dirty to Me podcast with the Maestro.
Want to get involved? Bring it. Drop in discord.gg/SimWorld NBA.
If you have the brain,
Join as a coach.
If you have the game,
Join as a player.
See the game, be the game. But now, back to Talk Dirty to Me with
The Maestro.
Once again, for the Soul Children String section, y'all.
Let's get back to some wonderful sounds.
And welcome back to Talk Dirty to Me. Let's go and get into a little leverage talk and what that means. And I don't mean leverage. That means I got something over you. I'm going to blackmail you to give me all your whatever. We're not talking about that kind of leverage. We're talking about leverage in ball. And in basketball, leverage means a bunch of different things. So you've heard me use this term a lot. So let's talk about what that means. So if I'm bringing the ball up, I'm a guard, I'm bringing the ball up or whatever. I forgot, positionless basketball. This is going to stay with it like that. I don't look at where your chest is pointed. I do not look at where your hands or your palms are pointed. I looked at the angle of your hips. I would take a laser beam directly out from your belt buckle, or what would be your belt buckle. And that tells me where all of your weight is positioned to go if everything is considered equal. Once I see that, if I'm bringing the ball up with my left hand and I see your waist pointing a straight line at my hand or at the ball, this is too easy. My leverage is going to be my move to the right with a crossover against your weight. I might even extend it more. I might even do a shadow move to my left to get you just to commit a little bit more. Once I see you do that, that is when I cross over. And I do a hard crossover in first step. So in other words, I don't do the crossover as in a straight parallel crossover or even with my body. I do the crossover against your left foot. So I'm dribbling with my left hand. I push the ball toward your left foot, and then I make my first step as I do that. Now, guess what has happened? I've basically passed by you already. You just don't know it yet. As I meet the ball with my right hand, I should be 3/4 or to your side, which means now you're at my mercy. I then take it. I then move to your backside. I've lost you. I'm gone. I'm either on my way to the rim or on my way to Burger King or Whataburger or whatever, but you ain't there because I've lost you back there. So that's the idea of leverage if I'm bringing the ball up. The idea of leverage if I'm in the post. Same rules apply except for it applies to weight. You give me the ball in the low post. The first thing I do, I've said this a lot already, I look down and see where the feet of my defender is. And I look to see which direction are their toes pointing. Why am I doing that? Because that's going to tell me where his midsection or waist is actually pointed. And I want to make my move to the weak side of that. Always first. Why? If I make my first move with aggression and intention, guess what I've done? I've already beat them. I've used my leverage. What I see with a lot of young players, they're bringing the ball up the court. They're crossing over because it's a cool way to dribble. You're wasting any leverage you might be able to gain. I'm not saying you shouldn't cross over, but you should always cross over with intention. You can cross over with intention to ghost the guy in front of you. But if you're crossing over just because, look at my handle, look at what I got, you're wasting everybody's time and you're hurting your team. I see a lot of cats when they get the ball in the post, they just start making their move. And a lot of times they make their move, into the defender. No good. You want to make your move away from the defender. And it's all about the hips. Again, dribbling the ball up the court. I see where your waist is pointed. If you're pointed toward my dribbling hand, I'm going to go to my opposite side with a forward push. I want to get to your 3/4 hip as soon as possible, and I can get past you. If I get the ball in the post, I look and see where your feet is pointed. My first move, with or without a dribble, is to your weak side. I need to get you off. If you make a quick correction, you turn into me, guess what I get? I get a foul and an and one. Now, let's talk about in the mid-range game. If I get the ball on the wing, if I get the ball, let's just say even in the corner, let's just go there. If I make my first step as if I'm faking a shot and I see you go to your toes, as I see your heels pick up, that's when I go. Physics is going to take over. I don't have to wait for the rest of the move. I see you go up responding to my move. As soon as your heels leave the ground, you're all mine. No offense. I'm not your daddy. I'm moving on. That's what I mean when I say recognizing leverage, recognizing move, and using it for your advantage. We'll have more talk about that coming up as we get more into the season, more into the off season, have a little fun with that. But hopefully that helped you a little bit as you're looking to sort of develop your game and move forward. That's exactly what we want to do here because everybody needs to be a dirty. That's just what's going down, right? For all you new people, hopefully you like it. Let me know what you like. Let me know some part of your game you think you want to work on. If you want some tips on that or just want an idea of where you think certain things are in your game or in someone else's game and what you like, maybe what you don't like. Let's talk about it. Let's have some fun. That's what it's all about, right? If we ain't having fun, we ain't doing it right. All right, family, let's be good. And remember what I tell you every single time we hang out. Never let Jason Bourne borrow your car.
I didn't realize we were starting right now.
Thank you very much.
Thank you again for checking out the Talk Dirty to Me podcast with the Maestro.
Drop a tag below and give us a piece of your mind.
So, see you next time and talk dirty to me.